inspiration feels like a lightning bolt. They think inspiration goes Shazam! Your hair stands on end, your teeth chatter, and maybe even a little pee comes out. But the truth is, the feeling of inspiration is more like a single raindrop. It's often so subtle, you'll miss it if you're not paying careful attention. However, if you are paying attention, you'll start to see ideas almost everywhere you look, and you'll have to write it all down so you don't forget. Me? I like to carry a pocket-sized notebook and pen wherever I go. I highly recommend you give it a try. Anytime you see something or hear something or think of something interesting, make a note to remember it for later. But keep in mind, you're not trying to generate some big inspirational breakthrough. You're just collecting a bunch of mildly fascinating fragments of notions that tickle your brain. If anyone else were to read through your notebook, it might seem more like a collection of nonsensical scribbles than a collection of great ideas, but that's okay. That's the whole point, actually. I know how hard it can be to start writing without a big idea that motivates you to get going, so allow me to lend you a lightning bolt. Shazam! Here's the title for your next great story. The Human Kaboom. Yes, that also happens to be the title of all 6 stories in this book, but each of those stories is totally different, aside from the 6 secret wormholes that connect them. And your story, even though it begins with the same 3 words, will end up being even more different from mine because your unique imagination will take the initial inspiration in unexpected directions I never could have dreamed of. Of course, you need a lot more than one idea to tell a whole story. You've got to come up with a hero and a plot and dialogue and a whole slew of other colorful details. Well, anytime you need another idea to build out your story, just flip through the collection in your notebook. And here's the most astonishing part. All of those random words and phrases you wrote down will suddenly take on new meaning. They become names of characters and descriptions of settings. They give you specifics to use for priceless treasures, hilarious shenanigans, and nefarious plans that will make your story feel special. Through some mysterious subconscious alchemy, your wide-ranging idea collection becomes a powerful source of highly personal inspiration. I promise, if you spend a few weeks jotting down all your brain tickles, the next time you want to write a story, you won't feel intimidated at all. In fact, you'll be thrilled to get started. But I can't wait that long, you say as you pull at your hair. I want to start writing already. Calm down. You can't rush. Creativity is the process of taking things in, digesting them, and changing them into something new. Kind of like a burp. If you try too hard to force it, you can make yourself puke by mistake. Luckily, the process of exploration is one of the great joys in life. If you like, you can get started immediately. As I've already mentioned, inspiration is everywhere, which means it's wherever you are right now. Look around you. It's on the ceiling. It's under the couch. It's in the shapes of the clouds and in the songs of the birds. It's in the picture frames on the wall and in every single book on your shelf. Hopefully, you'll find a few ideas you can use in this book, too. It might be something I wrote in one of the stories, or even better, something I didn't. Something hiding between the lines that no one can hear but you. Because that's the big secret. If you go around expecting to discover something amazing, you will. 1,000 tiny epiphanies will reveal themselves. Inspiration is not a brief flash of lightning. It's a constant glow of enthusiastic appreciation. When you're surrounded by inspiration, it feels like you're levitating. It's the greatest feeling in the world. And now that you know what you're looking for, you'll start to find it everywhere. 1. The Human Kaboom, the one with the gigantic space prank. Trudy and Jam pressed their faces to the windows of the space elevator to get a better look at the gigantic naked man floating in near-Earth orbit.
Look, you can see his...
Trudy Chartreuse! Miss Kilroy clapped her hands sharply. A long-suffering middle school teacher, she had zero patience for hijinks, especially on field trips, double especially on field trips to space. Miss Kilroy's 8th grade class had won a cereal box contest for an all-expenses-paid visit to Corpus Gigantus, the largest amusement park in the solar system. The park was, more specifically, a humongous working replica of the human body that had been launched into the exosphere for educational purposes. It was filled with thought-provoking scientific exhibitions, and the rides and attractions were highly informative. However, even the most diligent students were often